Hope the phone doesn't ring, period. Going live in 20 seconds.
Okay. They're mowing my lawn now. What timing?
Good morning, everybody. Hey there. Great to be with you. I'm Steve Farrell with Humanities Team coming to you live from our studio here in Boulder, Colorado, and it is a gorgeous day here. And speaking of gorgeous, look at my guest here that I have with me today, Karen Noe. Karen, thanks so much for being with me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on.
All right, I'm going to give Karen a proper introduction here in a moment. As we get started, just to share, this is a live program, so I'm in Boulder, Colorado. Karen, where are you coming in from?
Waldwick, New Jersey.
Okay, Waldwick, New Jersey, and she's got a beautiful studio back there. Boy, you're going to enjoy getting to know Karen better here during the program. So now, as always, it's a live program, and a big shout out to Karen Noe's friends that are watching the program, our Humanities Team friends, Humanities Stream Plus, subscribers that are in the green room and that may come on face-to-face with Karen during the hour. The Sign Network and John Raymer. So, hey, big shout out to all of you. Thanks for being with us. It is always a blast coming in live here on Wednesday mornings beginning at 9 a.m. Pacific. So now, because it's a live program, we can get to your comments and your questions. So, and right here in the studio, these questions are brought back to me. So I want to invite you, if as I'm talking to Karen, if there are things that you'd like to like her to respond to, just place your question or your comment in the chat there on social media. It'll be brought back to the studio. We'll get to as many people as we can during the hour. Now, our theme here for this meeting is messages from the afterlife. And as you'll see, boy, you know, this isn't lightweight at all. This is very, it's world-changing stuff, actually. You know, that might sound hard to believe, world-changing stuff when we talk about messages from the afterlife. But I can assure you I am not overstating, as you're going to see. So here, let's jump in. I'm going to give Karen a proper introduction. Karen Noe is a renowned psychic medium, spiritual counselor, and healer with a 2-year waiting list. She is the author of We Consciousness, Your Life After Their Death, Through the Eyes of Another, and the Angel Quest Oracle Deck. She is the founder of the Angel Quest Center in Waldwick, New Jersey, where she teaches classes, gives readings, and practices alternative healing. Since best-selling author Dr. Wayne Dyer left the physical plane in 2015, Karen has been receiving profound messages from him, Wayne Dyer, for his family and for the world as well. Wayne also shares messages with Karen from a group of celestial beings called the We Guides that includes St. Francis of Assisi and numerous angels and ascended masters. So, wow, you know, like I said, isn't that amazing? Welcome again to the program, Karen, and so great to have you with me.
Glad to be here.
And a 2-year waiting list. I'm going to get to that in a second, because and I can assure you that's real. I'm going to talk about 2 readings that Karen has done for my family that were like, wow. So I can see why I'm surprised it's not a 3 or 4-year waiting list. But before we get to that, Karen.
I'm not taking 2 people anymore.
There you go. Right. Yeah, because you have all of these important things you want to do. And as impactful as it is to do readings for families and things, you've got this other work that you're wanting to prioritize out in the world, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So, Karen, just your personal story again. As we know, I mean, one of the things you teach people is everybody has this skill. It's not reserved for a few. And that said, you had all these signs as you were growing up that kind of led you into this astounding level of mediumship, I'll just call it. So do you want to just share any personal story around things that happened there growing up?
Yeah, I was not a normal child, but looking, back then I thought I was. But my friends sometimes would say that I freaked them out. I would know things that would happen before they did, And my father used to take me to the racetrack, and I picked the winning horses for him. But
Huh.
now I am an animal activist, and I don't go to the track. But to this day, he'll say, "Karen, do you want to go to the track?" And I say, "No, I don't do that anymore." Um, I would have dreams. I would dream things before they happened and so forth. But about 25 years ago, I'm losing track of time. I was going through a very difficult time in my life. And I sat at the edge of my bed and I just yelled at God and I said, "Am I going to be okay?" And with that, I saw a light that started to come towards me from the other side of the room. And my first response was, "If you're not of God, please leave." Now, 25 years later, I know we're all of God. Everything's of God, everything and everyone. But at that time, what I meant was, if you're not of the light, please leave. But as I said that, it continued to come towards me and eventually enveloped me. And at that time, I heard an audible voice that said, "Lucia Lucina, Bella Lucia Lucina." I don't know if there are any Italian listeners that it means light, beautiful little light. Since then, I've learned that it was St. Francis of Assisi who's been guiding and protecting me ever since. And right after that experience, I started receiving messages from angels, deceased loved ones, messages from those in other dimensions, and so forth. And at first, I did not want to share the messages. I didn't want people to think I was not in my right mind. But the more I shared the messages, the more I saw how it changed people's lives, that they knew without a doubt it was their loved one. It was, things that I would never have known. And the rest is history. Then word caught on. I actually started in the back of a hair salon, and I started doing healing, Reiki healing. And as I did the Reiki healing, I received messages for the people who started to come to me. The rest is history. Then word caught on, and then I was booked years ahead of time. Started off weeks ahead of time, then months, and now several years ahead of time. But
Yeah.
let me just add that this is probably the most important thing, is that it's not about me. I know my purpose is to empower people to do what I do, because we all can do this. And that's the most exciting thing. It's not like, "Oh my gosh, look what Karen Noe can do." I have fine-tuned what I can do, but I could teach you how I do it. And I know you can do it. We all can.
Yes, and we're going to actually get into that, of the training and how you might receive training from Karen. And she really is just so incredibly gifted, and just at a whole nother level. I shared there were even personal experiences. One of my sisters was in touch with Karen over a year ago, and regarding the death or the transition of one of my sisters. There were 7 in my direct family that I grew up with, and the one just after me, her name was Maureen, and in the early '80s she transitioned, car accident, and so my other sister that was just younger than Maureen, Kathy, wanted to connect with Karen to just talk to Maureen, and the things that came back were astounding, including how Maureen is here even now, trying to share. But as so often happens, there's this heavy veil, and people just ignore, "Oh, I don't know what that is. That couldn't be Maureen." And even, some of the pets that Karen brought in, there were 2 pets in particular in our extended family that were could sense Maureen's presence. So that was part of the whole discussion of, hey, you've got 2 that are tuned in, and when Maureen comes in, they're there and really get it, and the family needs to wake up here as well. And then, perhaps even more astounding for us, is my aunt, who lives here in Boulder, is an atheist, and her partner transitioned. And as an atheist, you think, well, kind of gone to dirt and gone. And but Terry is her name, and Terry heard so much about our work in Humanities Team, the lifting of the veil, etc., that she was curious and said, "Wow, I would really, it would be amazing if I could, get a little time with Karen to just maybe talk to my partner who recently transitioned." And then Karen made herself available, And then just, wow, the things that happened where things that only her partner would know, that was sharing with Terry, telling Terry how proud she was of her for really living strongly, powerfully, healthy after her partner left. And then there was a young girl who her partner was very close to, and she used to always have Facebook pictures of her with this young girl. She's kind of like the second mom. And she said, would you call and check in on her? There's some real challenges going on in her life. And sure enough, her parents were getting divorced, big challenges were happening. My aunt, who was an atheist, was like, oh my God. She said, I don't know what to believe anymore. I'm not believing what I did believe, because how could these things have happened? So, and Karen, I know all day long, this is why you have this 2-year waiting list, and people, it'd be longer than that if you let the waiting list go longer. You just have this gift where that veil is lifted, and you can be this bridge for people, and then train people to do this themselves, right?
Oh. See, that's really the most important thing. I love doing a reading for somebody. Don't get me wrong. I love doing it. I love to see that it confirms that the deceased loved one truly is there with the living loved one, without a doubt. But what happens the rest of the year? Just that hour, they know this is wonderful. Then what? I'm trying to communicate. Where is this? Where is my grandfather? Where's my mom, my dad? So I love to teach people, and that's what this program is all about, is how to teach you how to do this. How to get the signs, how to ask them to come to you in a dream, how they speak to us. We're expecting to hear a voice or to see an apparition, but they come in different ways. So we have to learn how to do that. And once you learn how to do this yourself, and you acknowledge that, oh yeah, I know this is you, Mom. I know this song that's coming on the radio with this particular message is from you for me. The more you acknowledge it, the more you receive the signs. So that's the best part.
Yeah. No kidding. Just this whole, we've got to move past this notion on the earth that there's this veil and they've passed and transitioned, gone to dust and gone. We just have to, this is not true. In ultimate reality, this is just not true. So let's actually step into some of the things that are, in the introduction, I mentioned these things that are astounding when we talk about a lifting of the veil, people still teaching out in the world today that were huge people, Wayne Dyer in particular, that's actually present in today's world and teaching in a huge way. Now, he passed in 2015. Everybody probably knows who Wayne Dyer is. You might remember him passing, lived on Maui. So now, what's extraordinary is he was a Hay House author, you might remember. And guess who is another esteemed Hay House author? Karen Noe. So, and while they didn't know each other in this lifetime, or met, and talked, that this didn't happen, Wayne started reaching out to Karen. And then this created this whole thing with Wayne Dyer's family and so on. Let me just share, we're going to kind of come up to some of what happened here as we unfold this story, but we created a free program, with Karen Noe, who has been the medium and is today. Wayne is still coming through today. We'll get to that. And Wayne's family. So his 2 youngest daughters are Sage Dyer, the youngest, and then Serena Dyer. So we created a free program. It's called Messages from the Afterlife. And it's with Karen, Sage, and Serena. And we unfold the whole story, take you through it, and even get into things like how you can be a medium and get started kind of on that journey. So I think we're going to put a link in the window here on all our social media channels so you can register for the free program called Messages from the Afterlife. It's all I can say is it's jaw-dropping. And even if you don't have any interest in the masterclass that follows, you'll want to just tune in and hear this story that is almost sounds unreal, except that it's not unreal because there's so many accounts. And Marceline, Wayne's wife, is and the other members of the family are all included in this. So, but the 2 people that are in the free program are Sage and Serena Dyer. So Karen, do you want to, maybe just we kind of can share, a moment or two without getting into the particulars of just how Wayne was reaching out to you and how this thing started?
Yeah. It was a lot of synchronistic events. And I don't know if you could tell by my personality, I'm not the loudest person. I'm quiet. I was feeling insignificant and so forth. So I didn't reach out to them. What happened was it started on a bus where Serena sat next to me. And then from that point, Wayne started giving me signs. I call them without a doubt signs, including a sticker that attached itself to my shirt and so forth, from when then they came to see me in New Jersey, and very specific events. One of my favorite message of all time, I won't share them all, there's just too many, and we'll share that in the free program and in the master class, is I was going to go back on a bus where all my fellow Hay House authors were, as well as Wayne Dyer's family. And as I'm walking on the bus, I said, nope, I'm not going on that bus. I'm so insignificant. I'm not going on that bus. I'm walking back to the hotel. And as I'm walking to the hotel, I'm saying, I'm so insignificant. I'm so insignificant. That's when I heard him for the first time. And he said, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. And I said, Wayne, if that's really you have to give me a sign to let me know it's really you. And I continue to walk. And I said, okay, how may I serve? And he said, you're already serving. I said, how may I serve more? And boom, the rest was history. And he came through with messages that only they would know, very detailed messages. And he also came through as a group consciousness called the We Guides, which is, he came individually for his family and as a group consciousness with angels, ascended masters, and so forth, and gave us more profound messages for the world.
Yeah, and so we get into this whole unfolding of the story, what happened there on the bus and Hay House conferences. And now, even to this day, right, he's still reaching through. At one point, he wanted to reach out to me about a oneness documentary. So there's a lot that Wayne is still wanting to do in today's world, isn't there?
He won't stop. He was loud when he was here on Earth, and he's still loud now. He wants to increase the vibration of our planet to its true God vibration, something like that. He said it much better than I am saying it.
So let me just share again, this whole, not only the family messages which Sage and Serena bring through, but these messages that were meant for everybody on the planet, all 7.7 billion. He is, just as he was so passionate when he was physicalized here on the planet, he's unbelievably passionate here now of, hey, from the other side, there's some things that I had right, most of it actually, and some things I didn't have right. And so he's bringing back through those messages. And isn't it interesting that he went and paired up with part of, Karen brings in the We Guides. So Wayne is part of something in the afterlife with St. Francis of Assisi. I mean, isn't that, I mean, it makes sense because St. Francis, he would talk about with frequency, and he was, in a sense, doing, work on the same level here on the planet. So that these two would find each other in the afterlife and be working together isn't probably astonishing at all, is it?
Well, not at all. He wanted to come through for his family singularly, if that makes sense, with messages directed just for them, so that we knew without a doubt it truly was him, so that when he joined that group consciousness and gave us those profound messages, we would know it's truly him. So he had this important message, all these important messages to share with the world.
Yeah, which all of these too, in this free program, Messages from the Afterlife, you can see it right there on the screen. So if you go to that link, you can register for the program. We're going to do the unveiling. By the way, this is the very first time that we've unveiled the free program. So right here now with Karen. So we haven't talked about Messages from the Afterlife before today. We're just starting to put the links out there. And the webinar is just around the corner. Karen Noe will be with me when we broadcast this program, this free program. And she'll be doing live question and answer too. So, boy, don't miss that opportunity to come and join us for that program. Then there's going to be, another program at Encore where Sage and Serena will be joining me to answer questions live. So how cool is that? You can't really get time with Karen or Sage or Serena, and they're going to come on live to answer your questions after we broadcast this astounding, jaw-dropping program that gets into all of what happened, is happening now, and then very importantly, this training so that you can be this bridge, your own bridge to the afterlife. As Karen mentioned, this is her true passion, training you. We all have this skill, right? You share it's kind of like learning to play the piano. We just have to, it's just a skill that we tune into, right, Karen?
Exactly. Yeah, we all could play the piano if we have hands and fingers. You know, some people could play scales and other people could play great masterpieces. And the same it is with us connecting with our deceased loved ones. So, yep, you can do it. Everyone watching this right now, you can do it.
Don't shake your head, not me. Not true. You can. So listen, just stay with us. Stay with Karen through this whole journey. And you're going to be fascinated, I can assure you, by the Dyer women as well, as we unfold this whole story of what not only has happened, but is happening right now in today's world. Doesn't it make sense that with all the challenges and chaos and darkness in today's world, Wayne is saying, hey, I'm not gone. Here are important teachings. Let's get on it. You know, there's humanity has a destiny. Let's get there. I mean, isn't that comforting? So the other thing I want to bring in is where we started, Karen and I, as we were starting this broadcast, is this whole lifting of the veil. It's so important. You know, as you know, we talk about oneness and conscious living in Humanities Team. Karen very much does the same thing. And way too often in today's world, people say, oh, that's woo-woo, you know, talking to the afterlife or, you know, lifting of the veil and stuff. This is not woo-woo. I mean, this is, the Humanities Team is fortunate. We work with some other gifted mediums too, like Karen. You know, this is ultimate reality. And what a shame, you know, to live on the planet and not avail ourselves of this wisdom from the afterlife. People like Wayne Dyer and others that are present here now, you know, in a sense, kind of knocking on the door, but nobody wants to open it because they don't believe that anybody knocked in the first place. So that's one of the things we're going to just tear down that door, you know, during this program. I can't imagine that you would go through messages from the afterlife, and after we go through all of what happened, that you'd say, I'm still disbelieving. I don't think that can happen. Well, you know, prove me wrong, but I don't think that can happen. And it's so going to be so valuable where we can start receiving directly this wisdom from the afterlife and not be having this perspective that it's some closed world that's not here now. I know you believe, you know, this is your life work, Karen, so I'm sure you're saying, you know, absolutely.
Oh, sure. I teach this to many people. I travel. I'm going to be speaking at Omega soon about this. It's called Wisdom Beyond the Veil and so forth. So, yeah, but the best part is when these people, I have them in my class and then I teach them how to do this, and I group them into groups of 2, and then they give messages to each other from the other person's deceased loved ones, and they are astounded. They're like, I really can do this. This is amazing. And when they receive the signs from their deceased loved ones, they're thrilled. When they receive the dreams from their loved ones, they're thrilled, and they know that they can do it as well.
Yes, they can. Yeah, and when are you at the Omega Institute? We'll just share that date.
August, the first week in August. I have it on my website at KarenNoe.com, KarenNoe.com. But yeah.
Boy, check that out if you're back east. Yeah, and Karen has, with some frequency, goes to the Omega Institute. Okay, let's go take a look at, there's a clip here that we're going to now bring on. It's about a 3-minute clip as we talk a little more about this whole Messages from the Afterlife free program. So let's take a look, and then Karen and I'll come back and talk about it. Karen, I'm going to come back over to you. So in one of your communications with Wayne, he shared a new framework for living in the world that is truly paradigm shifting. Do you want to talk a little bit about this, Karen?
Sure. But let me begin because what I start with has everything to do with what I'm going to say. So do you remember before I said there were synchronistic events that brought us all together on the bus, that author bus? Well, it was time to go back on that author bus from the conference center to the hotel. And as I'm ready to board the bus, I see all of my favorite Hay House authors, and I'm a Hay House author too, boarding the bus, as well as Wayne Dyer's family. And I said, I can't go on there. I'm so insignificant. And so I started to walk back to the hotel, and I'm saying to myself, I'm so insignificant. I'm so insignificant. And that's when I heard him for the first time. And he shouted, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. And I said, Wayne, is that you? If that's you, you have to give me a without a doubt sign to let me know it's really you. And I said, if that's you, how may I serve? And he said, you're already serving. I said, how may I serve more? So I walked back to the hotel, and there was something very itchy inside of my shirt. So I reached in to see what it was, and it was a sticker that had somehow attached itself to the inside of my shirt. And on the sticker were the letters W-E on it. At that time, I thought it meant Wayne, first letter, last letter of his name. Because when I receive messages, oftentimes they tell me their name, first letter, last letter of their name, and so forth. And then I felt him. He's laughing. He's saying, is that good enough sign? I said, oh my God, thank you so much. And I was like, oh, that's wonderful. And I was just so excited. That was it. Fast forward, then he started, the meeting with the Dyers, and that he started to come through for his family with very specific messages for years. And, he has 8 children and a wife, and he came through, I think, for 6 of you. Yes. And it was, I'd be making dinner or going for a walk, 6 o'clock in the morning, text this one, call this one, this is happening, and so forth. So it was coming singularly for them, so that they would know without a doubt it was him. Now, what he really wanted to come across with, he wanted to join forces with a group consciousness called the We Guides. Yes, you heard me right. We Guides. That's the W-E that was on the sticker.
Okay, and that was just a little glimpse of this free program called Messages from the Afterlife. You could see there at the beginning on the screen, Sage Dyer, Serena Dyer, Karen, and myself, as we're just unfolding the whole story of everything that happened. So again, wow, we are so excited to be doing this program because, again, as we look at conscious living, one of the things that is not given the attention that it deserves is this whole aspect of the lifting of the veil, oneness, where we talk about this connection, inner harmony, underlying unity. This is all part of conscious living, right? And too often, it's like we just close this whole section of the afterlife off, and we just consider that's happening with life around us and the divine as well, but not all of the what we would consider the deceased. They're just somehow written off. So it's important. Gosh, it was over a year ago, right, Karen, that we started this whole discussion around, we really need to do this program. This needs focus. We need to just banish forever this notion that there's some separate, or that there is no afterlife, or that afterlife is just somewhere some group goes down and burns forever and another group goes, to some heavenly place. It might be worth talking about that for a moment too, huh, Karen? Where if anybody believes there's a malevolent divine, might be worth just sharing about that for a minute.
Sure. So let me first begin with the analogy. If you put a bowl of water in the middle of the room, it will eventually evaporate. It will change forms, but it will still be there, just the same it is with us. After we leave the physical body, we continue. It's not something I think or believe, it's something I know without a doubt. And my wish is for everyone to know that as well. And once you join, wait, let's just say this again. Once you leave the physical body, you could feel that connection in an instant. You feel your connection with everyone and everything, and your connection with God. You see you're not separate from them. You go through a life review where you're able to see and feel how you've affected each person through their eyes, because you feel that connection in an instant. But you're not going to be going to hell for eternity, or even heaven is heaven right here and now. But when you leave the physical body, wow, it's a bliss beyond words. That's what everyone says after they leave the physical body, and they're giving me the messages. It is, you can't put it on a piece of paper. I usually jot down the notes, for the readings and so forth, and I can't put down the words. It's bliss, better than that. So no matter what you did, you will see how you've affected people, but you will be in complete peace and love. You'll just say, oh, I should have done that differently. I should have seen through the other person's eyes. I should have forgiven him or her. I should have asked forgiveness for what I did, right? I should have treated myself with the respect that I deserve as well, and so forth. And in so doing, you could create peace in your life right here and now, and not wait until it's too late, till you see the bigger perspective.
Boy, let's go down into this a little more, because this ties into, people may know for a little while now, Humanities Team and Neale Donald Walsch, the Conversations with God Foundation, we've launched this huge initiative with partners like Karen, Michael Beckwith, and many others. It's called Changing Humanity's Future. And the whole focus is on living consciously. It's in this day and age where there's all this hand-wringing of, oh my gosh, shooters and Supreme Court and loss of democracy and what's happening over in the Ukraine and climate change and so on, that there's a really simple, elegant, simple way to the other side, this light at the end of the tunnel. And it's just what we're talking, it's just living consciously, right? Because when we live consciously, as Karen and I are talking about it, and I'm sure you as viewers all, that's why you're here, you're living consciously, right? We're looking out on the sacred, as Karen was sharing, that the divine is everywhere in all things, in the earth herself, and animal life and plant life, and certainly all of humankind. And these galaxies now that are being revealed with this whole new telescope that is out 1 million miles from the Earth. That the stardust, Carl Sagan said, we're all made of stardust, right? So, which we're all sovereign to one body. So we are all one. There are different ways of stating this, but basically, it just means that we're all an emanation of the one. We're energetic beings that are expressions of the one, which in Humanities Team we call the divine, but scientists call it universe or cosmos, and that works fine. It doesn't really matter what term we use. Now, but one thing that Karen said that's so important, this life review thing. So now, Karen, in my understanding, we're not looking at bank accounts and Ferraris and mansions in the life review. There's something more important we're looking at. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Not once in all the years that I've been doing readings has someone come through and said, I should have worked harder. I should have gotten that bigger house. They always come through and say they should have spent more time with their family, or express the love more, forgive the other person, ask for forgiveness as well, those types of things. And they actually come through so we know it's truly them, with very specific things, such as, I shouldn't have hit you over the head with a mirror when you were 5 years old, that type of thing. So the living loved one knows without a doubt it is truly their loved one who made their transition, and so forth. So yes, and we have to understand we are all one, and whatever we do to ourselves or another, it affects everyone. And to understand that, and we need to focus on solutions rather than the problems in the world. Okay, focus on what we want rather than what we don't want, because we're vibrational beings, and whatever we're thinking and feeling, we're creating more of in our lives and in the world around us. So it's very important to continue to focus on solutions. If you're posting on Facebook or always post positive, loving things. That's what I do. If you follow me on Facebook or on Instagram and so forth, no matter what is going on in the world, it will always be a very positive post, because I know I don't want to attract more of what I don't want in my life or in the world. Hope that makes
So a
sense.
lot, yeah, it does. Yeah, a lot of wisdom here. Let me just go. I want to just stay with one thing because it's so related to this whole conscious living thing that's so important right now. So you were sharing, even one of the examples you gave, Karen, earlier was where you had said people could look at things and say, I could have done better than that. You were sharing that experience. My father has also been, we've reached out to him through mediumship. And this was the thing. My father was a professional who was quite successful and, even in the press and things, but very, very work involved and married 3 times. And so there was a lot of this as we've had discussion with him of, I really could have done better than that, and I'm really sorry. I got stuck in a groove, is what he said, and I couldn't get out. So now I'm sharing that, not to try and tell on my dad, who I love very much, and but instead to, for us right here, right now, this conversation we're having, it's not some little kind of fairy tale thing or lightly important thing. In today's world, where there's all this dysfunction and chaos and darkness, which is tied into the unconscious living, where we're professionally focused on Gantt charts of I can check off these, and I still need to do these. We're hitting the accelerator of materiality, of the old American dream. That we're missing it. We're missing it. And if Karen and I can be a vehicle today to just really share the importance of what the true invitation in life is, in the life review, what we look at, what's important. Because we, in a sense, there's a marinating in that, in the afterlife, and then we say, well, I didn't do quite what I wanted, I guess I'll embody again, and we go back and forth and things. So if we could, in this lifetime, right now, really see the importance of living consciously, with this whole interior thing going on that anchors our exterior, the inner anchoring the outer, where the inner communing with the divine, raising our vibrational energy, the inner harmony, and then the underlying unity, where we can feel those things and see the sacred and live consciously. One, it's unbelievably fruitful for us, unbelievably fruitful. And two, just as our other initiative called Changing Humanity's Future suggests, we can literally create this planet that we've wanted and dreamed about for ourselves, and the earth itself, and animal life and plant life, where we just see the sacred and live consciously. It's not that hard to do. So, and this is the invitation that Neil and I, and actually even Karen as faculty, and all of us are extending to the whole of the earth right now, is, hey, let's end the hand wringing, this stuff is hard, and focus, as Karen said, on the positive of who we can be, what we can see, what we can create. It's really, we can do this together and then leave the legacy when we transition with our kids of a planet that is sustainable and flourishing, and all the things that we create when we're conscious. And I know Karen, if you know Karen, and she's posted about these things all day long. So I'm sure, Karen, do you want to say something about this?
Well, yeah, I would absolutely like to say that each one of us can make a difference. You may think you're one person, but you can make a difference on this planet by just raising your vibration so it's more on par with the energy of who you really are, which is God within you. Now, you heard what I said. Yes, God within you. God is within every single person, not just me, not just the great masters, every one of us. And if we're more on par with that energy, we could create miracles in our lives and in the world. So no matter what is happening in the world around us, if we change ourselves, if we raise our vibration, again, to be more on par with the God within us, which is, some of the things we could do is forgive, have more compassion, try to see through the eyes of another person, and so forth. And we'll go over more of that in the modules and so forth. But if we can do that, and we are all one, we're increasing the vibration of the world. Imagine that. Yes, you can do that. Yep. not just me, not just the great masters. You can do that. And that's the
Right.
best part. That's why
And
we're
you brought
doing
in,
it.
Karen. Yeah. And you were saying this, rest in peace, which we do when we live this way. But Karen said, no, right now, right,
Right now.
rest in peace right now, right?
Yeah.
Because you're living all of these things, and also in this day and age where so many people feel low self-esteem or disempowered and things, where you are part of the Almighty, the creator of the whole universe. My God, can you sit up straight or what? It's true. Every one of us, and nobody more than the next, is why Jesus would say, and these things you and others shall do, greater than these things, right? So this is one of the basic tenets of conscious living, is that the Father, Mother, Divine has equal parts in everybody and everything. You can live this life. So that's what I wanted to come back to with this whole after you transition, where you go into life review and things, is just to make the point that we're not talking about just some little obscure thing that is ambiguous and so on. We're talking about ultimate reality, the way it actually works right now, and how we can have an incredibly fruitful and prosperous life. And then when we do this together, we get out of this craziness that's out in the world today. So that's what Changing Humanity's Future is about. So now we have some questions. There's a question that's come in from Christy. So let me pose this question for you, Karen. She says, can your family in the afterlife give you advice on how to handle estrangement from daughter-in-law and grandchild? So that's kind of interesting. So I'll read that. Can your family in the, yeah. If
They absolutely
got that.
can, and I know the answer to that right away. They'd want peace in the family. They see the bigger perspective, and they can give you advice to create peace and try to see through the other person's eyes. No matter what has happened, nothing is worth being estranged. So but you have to be the first one to create the peace in your life. It's easier said than done. I know that, but it's well worth your effort. That's something
that's
you don't want to
beautiful.
look at the end of your life saying that I should have, could have, would have, connected with them and so forth. Do it now.
Yeah, beautiful. And so you keep bringing through here, Karen, which by the way, if you haven't friended Karen on social media, you really should, Karen Noe, because she's all day long got these posts out of do this and this and this, and it'll bring more peace to your life, more joy, more laughter, more abundance, et cetera, et cetera. This whole, we're vibrational beings, and just leading the way into, really, I'm going to call it expressions of love, which is kind of, now we each have a different station in life, like Neil Donald Walsh is a truth teller, which is an expression of love, telling the truth, right? We all have our own station that we're called to, but all of these stations actually are expressions of love. So it doesn't surprise me that you'd say here, where there's some challenge or difficulty in the family, stress, walk out to that higher ground and invite people into a loving place, a healing place, because that actually is the invitation of life, isn't it, Karen?
Absolutely. And I just wanted to add one more thing to Christy. That's a wonderful question, because I'm sure you're wanting to create peace and you're probably asking, well, how do I do it? Well, I don't know if you've ever heard Wayne Dyer's quote, it's not the snake bite that kills us, it's the venom that's left behind. So if you don't want to do it for the other person, do it for yourself, and you'll be creating peace. You'll be reaching out and trying to make peace in everyone's life. Hope that helps.
Yes, but that is so true, that Wayne Dyer quote. And another one of his quotes, which relates to this whole conscious living thing, is when what you see in the world changes, I don't have this quote exactly, but then the world, those things that you see change as well. So which is this
the
whole
way you look at things. Oops.
Yeah.
When you
Yes.
change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yes, there it is.
It's true.
So this whole conscious living thing, where we're seeing the divine, we're seeing the perfection, the beauty. And yes, of course, there's, when I say perfection and beauty, there's all of these things playing out, the challenges, the hand-wringing things. But our invitation when we talk about conscious living is it's not to be new age and to go bypass and just not see what's happening. We can be human and see it and feel it and experience it. But then to move into being the healer, the alchemist, these things that Karen and I are talking about here now. That's because this whole, Martin Luther King said, darkness doesn't heal darkness. Only light can do that, right? This is what he is talking about. So where we move into our true invitation is to be the light, to be the healer, be the alchemist. And we can feel things that are challenging that are happening in the world, but don't get stuck there. Move on to being the light expression. And boy, I mean, going back to mystical teachings for eons, this is what has been shared, huh? Karen, this is why we embody, is to come in, to have this experience, and to be our highest and grandest self in a sense, right?
Absolutely. I use the expression, when you turn on the light, the darkness goes away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Remember that. Remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember that. So absolutely. Yeah. So beautiful. So, and again, we're going to get into so much more messages from the afterlife and look forward to seeing you there. Okay, so here's another question that's come in. So this is from Valerie, and she says, Dear Karen, my husband died recently, and I am desperate for reassurance that I will see him again and be able to communicate with him.
Without a doubt, you will see your husband and communicate with him after you leave the physical body. But even now, talk to him. He can hear you. Talk to him, write letters to him. Think about the words you wish to say. Write him a letter, and at the end of the letter, say, give me a without a doubt sign, which I'll talk more about that in the masterclass and the program coming up. But ask him to give you a without a doubt sign to let you know he's aware of what you wrote to him. And you will be surprised, just putting that out there, the signs that you'll get and the messages that come through. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to the thoughts that just pop in your head for no reason, because they speak to us telepathically and so forth. Without a doubt, you will communicate with him. He's communicating with you. He wants to know that he's okay, and he wants you to be okay too. More than okay. He wants you to be in bliss just as he is.
Beautiful. Gosh, and this is another thing that just keeps coming through, where these questions are, of course, quite frequently asked. And then, just as Karen mentions, of, oh my gosh, they're knocking, and this is why this whole lifting of the veil is so important, because there's so many people that feel this of, oh, my partner passed, or my daughter, my son, etc., my pet, and there's a feeling of loss, and oh my goodness, they're right here, right now. So tune in, stay with us as we journey with Sage and Serena Dyer into this new direction. I want to also share for people that go through this program that we're doing, all of our live programs on Wednesday, and then this masterclass that is going to follow the free program. It's called Life After Death. It goes to this revolutionary conscious streaming platform. It's called Humanity Stream Plus. And I say revolutionary conscious streaming platform because there's really nothing like it in the transformational education industry. It's a little one-click type platform where you click once and then you go down into modules, and you could get halfway through a class and then decide, oh, I want to go over to the Michael Beckwith, Neil Donald Walsh Soul's Purpose program, or I want to go over to the Ken Wilber program on conscious business, or I want to go over to the Barbara Marx Hubbard program on awakening, or I want to go over to Steve's program on conscious leadership. Here you can see we're scanning it. There are hundreds of programs on this platform, and you can use Roku, Google Pay, Apple Pay. Almost any device will deliver this to your home all over the world, and soon in Spanish, French, and German, and other languages as well. We even have a one-for-one program, so where you're purchasing the subscription, which is now $3.99 a year, about the price of one masterclass, but again, there are hundreds of programs on the platform. You gift a free program, a free subscription to an underserved person that would otherwise not be able to afford this platform at any price. So you can see here So you just click once on these icons, which are the front page to a masterclass. Suzanne Giesman, you can see, who's another talented medium. Again, there are hundreds of them. So Deborah Poneman, so many incredible people, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, Nassim Harriman, Lynn McTaggart, Barbara Marks Hubbard, they all have programs on the platform. So I invite you to check that out. It's called Humanities Stream Plus. If you go to the humanitiesteam.org website and just come down and click once, you'll go over to the platform or go to humanitiesteam.org/stream, and that'll take you directly there. So this brand new masterclass with Karen Noe, Sage Dyer, Serena Dyer, called Life After Death. It's going to first go to this platform, and you can watch it anywhere in the world, along with these hundreds of other programs that are science and spiritual and philosophy and professional leader based. Really a one-of-a-kind transformational education platform that is streaming all over the world today. So be sure to check that out. Okay, let me go back to Karen here with some more questions. So this is a question now from Vance. Actually, I'll read this. This is actually a statement from Vance. He says, "This is so right. When you forgive others, you set yourself free." And I know Karen's saying high five on that one. And then here's a question from Faith. She says a family member had a brain injury and was in danger of not recovering. He dreamt that a man told him very gently that he had to come back. I think I know which deceased family member it was. How do you know if this is real? So that's a question being posed for Karen. Yeah, gosh, and again, it just keeps coming back to this, doesn't it, Karen? Where these dreams, you sometimes you say feathers, birds. They're these symbols that are quite often, quite frequently, will be symbols that people from the afterlife will set up to try and help you make the connection that it is real. There's something happening. Somebody is reaching out. And of course, throughout, as you mentioned, there's all of God within. So all of that intuition and guidance and wisdom and support, right, that's just coming through. And acknowledging that, right?
The sky or any animal, it would be a bird that lands on your shoulder or screams at you, or a butterfly that encircles you and so forth, or you're in the middle of nowhere and you'll smell their perfume. So, things like that, things that normally don't happen. So ask your loved ones to give you a without a doubt sign, and then be patient and wait, and the sign will come when you least expect it. You'll see.
Yeah, my wife, Stephanie, her mother transitioned in October last year. And her mother's name was Artie, and they were just, as is so often true, a daughter and a mother, just complete best friends and soulmates. And this was so challenging for Stephanie, even though her mother had lost a lot of her capacities. Still, to lose her was just so incredibly challenging. Stephanie was very down in the mouth. Now, then one night, she had this dream, and it was just, and she never has dreams where like there's music playing. It's like, what is, and there was this music playing, and she's like, what is this? And it was a Carpenter song, and I'm forgetting the name of it, but something looking down, and in such perfection, and you and me, so Stephanie, I mean, it was so vivid that she got up in the morning, did the Google search, and it was so perfect, and it was like, and she just walked around with a smile on her face for days of, oh my God, my mother came through in the biggest way. And then she's seen feathers and things since then, other signs. She was driving down the street thinking about her mom, and she looked up and there was a license plate, Artie, So this has been so incredibly comforting. Yeah, and I know, Karen, you're saying, yeah, hello, pay attention to these signs, right?
Exactly. These are things you cannot ignore. Things she knew without a doubt it was her mom, right? That's,
yeah.
They're called without a doubt signs.
Yeah. I love, remember that, this whole, what Karen calls without a doubt. We do this in Humanities Team 2, where we have something that's so important and you have to know, and it's like, okay, and we're doing, when we're doing this whole conscious living thing and to transform the whole planet, in a sense we see it as kind of a God job. So we'll say, give us a without a doubt sign, and then some of the things that'll happen will just blow your mind. They're so astounding. It's like, I know, we know with certainty we're doing what we're supposed to do. So remember that, if you're not doing it already, where there's something that's that important, and you say, and you just, the fullness of who you are, I need a without a doubt, I'm going to sign that lets me know with absolute certainty that I am to do something. So remember that. Karen is big with this, and it works. So here's another question, and I told Karen as we were coming on, boy, this hour is going to fly by, and it has. We only have less than 5 minutes here. So, but let me bring in some more, and thank you, viewers. We've had great feedback here during this program. So this is from Sandra, and Sandra, I think, is in the green room here. She's a Humanities Stream Plus member. She says, my son died 13 years ago. I have not felt a communication from him. He died 13 years ago. Is this possible? He died by suicide 13 years ago. Is it possible to communicate with him?
I'm so sorry about the passing of your son, but no, truly, without a doubt, that it is possible to communicate with him. Maybe just talk to him because he could hear you. Tell him that, I don't know if you're holding on to anger or whatever it is, that please, you'd love to, don't. And by the way, let me backtrack and say, instead of begging him to come through, say thank you for coming through, and know it and have the faith that it's going to happen. You see the difference? When you beg, it means you don't believe it's going to happen. And by the way, I'm so glad you're tuning in tonight. Not tonight, tomorrow night. I'm doing something with helping parents heal. That's parents who have lost their children. If you can go to my email I'll give you my email, KarenNoe1111@gmail.com. I'll give you the link to that, where it's a free online helping parents heal, how to communicate with their children. So don't give up. When they first pass, they're very anxious to let us know they're with us. And then after a certain amount of time, they don't connect as much because they acclimate to the other side. But it is still possible to connect with them, and probable. That's a very good question. I'm glad you asked.
Fantastic. And I know how healing it is where people do, because the messages are always live your life and keep walking out into a bright future. And I'm great, as Karen mentioned, with these afterlife accounts are, it's everything that it's said to be. It's a heavenly experience, right, Karen? They're fine in the afterlife, and they're worried about us down here of just don't be worried about me. Keep living your life. There's all this opportunity still in front of you. I mean, isn't this what comes through over and over again, Karen?
Absolutely. They are in a state of complete bliss no matter what's happened, even a suicide. So they probably, he's going through that. Now he sees through your eyes how that affected you and so forth. And he probably wants to come through and say, I'm sorry, and so forth. But he is in a state of complete bliss and peace, and just know he's okay. And he just wants you to be okay too. It's important to know.
Yes, it is. So, boy, we've got some things, of course, we can deduce from this, we have, we're back and forth. We have eternal life. I mean, Karen said, God lives within you. So what are God's properties, right? Eternal life, unlimited potential or capacities. I mean, all of this is what we can sit up straight. Boy, there's so many people that feel, quite honestly victimized in this world of, all these things have happened. It's been so challenging. People feeling disempowered. And boy, this is why we're so passionate. I know Karen and the work she does, a humanities team, and the work we do, because it's like, hello, let's wake up. Let's wake up to who we are, our potential, our capacities, and then Karen also keeps coming back to paying attention to. There's two creations, right? This first creation in our mind. It's so important that we keep that vibration high, and we're seeing and feeling into all of these good things that we're creating in our lives, and not get, because it's so easy to just kind of open the door to all of the hand wringing and the challenges and the darkness and things. There's no value in that. There's just, it hurt. It's bad for our health, and then it becomes our first creation, which then is the second creation, is where we bring it into materiality. So lots of good things we're going over here. Karen, do you have final words for our viewers here today?
Yes, I wanted to say, when you resonate more on par, as I stated before, as who you really are, which is God within you, be more forgiving, compassionate, and so forth, that's when you'll be able to connect more quickly with your loved ones, because that's the energy that they are in right now. So it's like, I always use the analogy, it's like tuning to 1300 AM, but you want 3200 FM, you won't be able to hear them. So you want to raise it so it's more on par with their energy, and you will receive messages.
Yeah, so boy, that's so important too. So Karen's been actually covering a lot of the key things that we were using, playing the piano as an example. There are these key things that we want to understand if we want to be a medium. And Karen's covered many of them here. And if you feel like some of them went, got it, but gone, no worries. Come to Messages from the Afterlife with Karen, Sage, and Serena, our free program that's directly ahead. We're going to go into this and much, much more. And then a program after it with, again, the three of them that is astounding. And it's called Life After Death. So if you're a Humanities Stream Plus member, boy, get ready. Don't miss that program. We'll be doing free viewing parties if you want to watch with these, go through these master classes with friends. That's part of the whole Humanities Stream Plus opportunity too. That's part of that community. So we are at the end of our hour. I want to, Karen Noe, thank you so much for being my special guest here today. And viewers, thank you for being here with us, being interactive, bringing your questions and comments in. Gratitude. I'm going to be back next Wednesday. We're going to be later, so we're going to come in at 12 Pacific next Wednesday. It's usually 9 a.m. Pacific. And we're going to have Sage Dyer and Serena Dyer with us to, again, talk more about this whole Messages from the Afterlife free program. So be sure to join us on Wednesday next week, 3 hours later. Now we're going to pull the camera back, and I can thank Jim Gray, who is producing the program here. There's Jim over there. See, I'm here on the couch with my light blue shirt. Jim, thank you. Jim, everything was smooth here today. Gratitude, my friend. And I want to thank Karen Gordon, Dee Meyer, Timothy Noah, Garth Catterall, Nanette Kennedy, Karen Watson. So thank you to all of my partners and colleagues in the Humanities team who make this program possible. And Karen, I look forward to having you back. I look forward to being with you when we do the live Q&A for Messages from the Afterlife. Thank you again for being with me today.
Thank you. Angel blessings to everybody.
Okay, angel blessings, everybody. Love and peace and light, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Have a great rest of week.